Hello, everyone. This is your 15th Goddesses of Stardom Tag League preview here on the YouTube channel. Yes, I am here doing a Tag League preview. I don't know many who are going to take the time to make an extra video to preview the Tag League, but hey, that's what I'm here for. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Of course, I am your host, as always, Scott E., and I'm excited to dive into this tag league, which kicks off this Friday. We got 16 teams, some brand new mix and match teams, some senior and junior wrestler teams, just a lot of fun packed in here. This isn't going to be a long preview. It's not going to be here to, keep you in wondering and such. We're just going to dive right into it because ultimately at the end of the day, yes, it is Tag League. I understand that. Thank you everyone for joining me here today. I'm very excited to talk about all this. I'm very excited because I think Tag League is one of the more underappreciated parts of the schedule for Stardom. Because yeah, you're not gonna get necessarily major matches, but you're gonna get some quality matches along the way. And as someone who really likes tag team wrestling, someone who really likes joshi wrestling and likes different combinations, I think Tag League gives us the opportunity to see a lot of that. We have one fantastic league in the Red Goddesses League, which we'll talk about here in a second. And I'll give my preview, predictions, and so on and so forth as we go through this. So we're going to go over each team, brief comments about them, and I'll give you my predictions at the end. But before we get there, if you've missed it, please go and check out the Stardom Crimson Nightmare 2025 show review. I posted that on Monday night, so maybe you missed it, maybe you haven't checked it out yet. Please go and check that out. That was a lot of fun to cover. Obviously, a lot of fallout from that show has bled over into Wrestle Kingdom and Stardom Dream Kingdom. We have our two major matches for Saya Kamatani at both of those shows. Hear my thoughts on that over on the review as well. But like I said, this is all about Tag League here today. We're going to see who's going to challenge BMI2000 for the tag belts at Stardom Dream Kingdom. And I think that's one of my other favorite parts of Tag League is that we know the destination of where the winners are going to challenge more often than not. And I think with this year, with BMI 2000 being the champions, they actually have a decent opportunity of running the entire thing and winning. So we'll talk about all that. We'll break it all down and we will give you the predictions at the end. So hopefully, if you are enjoying Stardom, if you're enjoying some tag team action, then this is the place for you. Before we move on here, I'll give you, some upcoming programming notes. We won't have a review for the opening night or anything. We definitely will have a review for the final night later this month. But in terms of upcoming content that is locked in, guaranteed, Monday we will have a Sareeism review up right here on the channel. Sareeism Chapter 9. That'll be a full review, so look forward to that. Big time main event. We'll also hopefully sometime the week after have a Sendai Girls review, a Margot Old Corkin review. I'm going to be away for both of those, so I don't know when or if I'll actually get content out for them, but I'm hoping I do because those are two big exciting shows, and we'll see what else I can cover along the way. But those are kind of your reviews to look forward to. We'll have some other special content coming out. I'll set some stuff up for when I do go away and so on and so forth. So thank you to everyone who continues to support the channel, continue to listen to me talk as much as I do. It really means a lot. So speaking of talking, let's get to that Goddess of Stardom Tag League preview, shall we? Let's do it. And we dive into the Red Goddesses block to start, and there's no better way to start than with your Goddesses of Stardom champions, Natsuko Tora and Ruaka. I was saying on the Crimson Nightmare review how I really like BMI 2000 as a team. I think Tora and Ruaka have awesome chemistry together, and they bring out the best in each other. So them entering this as the champions is very fascinating. Are we going to keep them out of a final by, maybe DQ? Are we gonna keep them out by just a shock win? I could see them getting built really strong and potentially going undefeated. Now, this is the way tougher block. Red Goddesses is a stacked block. Legitimately, like, I look at the entire lineup, I'm like, I'm probably gonna watch every single match from this block, which is very exciting. That's what I want from Tag League. You want exciting blocks. You want something that's gonna jump out to you. And these two are gonna lead the way as the champions. But they have a lot of tough competition. There's a lot of, I think, pretty easy losses for them if they want them to stay out of the final three, which I think is also very possible. But considering they are part of Hate and Hate has all the belts, it's hard to imagine them not at least making the playoff. But we'll see. We'll talk about those predictions later, but that's kind of how I feel about BMI 2000. Next up, we have Natsu and Saori, Natsu Poi and Seriano teaming up back together again. Obviously, instant favorites, I think, for the tag league win. Now, of course, the offset here would be they would not be going to uh Dream Queendom to challenge. So if we expect this winner to be at Dream Queendom, that does take them out, right? We know Sariano is going to challenge for the World of Stardom Championship against Saya Kamatani at that show. And Natsupoi obviously seemingly has something going on with Sareee, so we'll see what that becomes in the meantime. But these two are arguably your best tag team in the entire tournament. I think Natsu and Saori are fantastic. I'm so excited for their tournament, and I think they are one of those teams that if they have an incredible run, they could come in and steal that tag team of the year type level uh respect, I think, by the end of the year, because I don't think there's a tag team outside of Wing Gory and Stardom that really has that major claim. Just to go through my Stardom placements on my tag team of the year, I have Wing Gory at one. They're still one despite not really doing much. They're not even teaming up in this tournament, but not since they are at eight. So it's not impossible, I think, for them to come in and really take over. So I think that's a fascinating aspect. I think they're a lock for the final three as well, or at least they should be. So I'm fascinated to see how they do teaming up in a block like this with the champions and with other capable teams. But as of right now, in my predictions, I definitely have them advancing to the playoffs. We'll see how far I'm feeling when we get to the end of this. But love Natsu, love Saori, going to be a great run by them. We then have maybe the most intriguing and exciting team, I think, of matchups, because we are having the high speed championship rivalry here. Yuna Mizumori teaming up with Mei Sarah. So part of this, for those who don't know, is why is Mei Sarah teaming up with Yuna Mizumori? Well, Starlight Kid, after her match with Konami, is going to take time off. She injured her arm. She's going to take some time. She wanted to team with Mei Sarah in the tournament, but she said she can't. She's going to take the time to get better. So I'm going to wish her all the best. Her and Momo Watanabe going to be absent probably for the next month at least, if I had to guess, considering they're not in the tournament. So massive losses, because those are two of the better tag team wrestlers, I think, in the company, let alone the better wrestlers, among the better wrestlers in the company. But what it creates is opportunity for fun, creates opportunity for excitement. And if there's an underdog, if there's a dark horse team, I think that could maybe run it. Maybe that's Mei Sarah and Yuna Mizumori. This team is going to be awesome, legitimately awesome. These are two of the wrestlers who give it their all each and every show they're on. Like, if you are wrestling them in this block, you are going to have your best game, because I do think that these two are going to bring it. These are my early picks for MVP, I think, of the entire tournament. Yes, there's better tag teams. Yes, Saree's in the tournament, like all these things that I often favor, but there's something about Yuna Mizumori and Mei Sarah that really excites me. I think I'm going to just call them Yuna May. I think they have such high potential to really shine in this tournament. Do they make the final three? It's a tough block to do it. But in terms of entertainment, in terms of quality, I think they're gonna bring it, and I think they right now would be my picks for MVPs, which is pretty awesome, I'd say, considering they haven't teamed. They're literally rivals for the high speed belt. But hey, that's part of the fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all goes. But this was the team that I saw. I was like, hell yeah, that's a great choice. Then we have Hina and Rana Yagami, another team I like, another team I'm interested in. Hina rules, like plain and simple. Like Hina's had one of the best years in all of Stardom this year. If I was to put together a list of MVPs in Stardom, she's one of them. It would be, obviously Saya Kamatani, Starlight Kid, Hina, and Rina. Like those are the top four in any order. Truthfully, I think it's like kind of undeniable how great they've been. And on the other hand, Rana Yagami, I think these two can become a great tag team. God's Eye is looking, I think, for that signature tag team. They have so many moving parts, so many amazing pieces. And I was kind of upset that, Tomoka and Azusa were both kept out of this tournament. I thought there was so much potential. Obviously Azusa with Rina, but I thought of the idea of Hina and Tomoka and what that could look like. But this is awesome for Rana Yagami. These are two Stardom members at the end of the day, right? So I think there is real excitement for what these two create. It also shouldn't be a shock. I know Tomoka and Azusa have some big matches in JTO this month, so maybe that's part of it as well. But um, you want to see these two develop. At the end of the day, they're both two incredibly young wrestlers and two incredibly talented wrestlers in the same faction. You give them an entire tournament, and this is how you get better. I said years ago when talking about Miyu Amasaki, tag league was going to be something that really I think brought the best out of her. I'm not saying that Rana Yagami needs something to be brought out of her. I think Rana Yagami is quite good. But I think teaming with Hina, she can unlock that next step, which is maybe as a tag team performer, as a tag team competitor. So I'm really excited for what Hina and Rana can bring to the table. They should be a fun duo to watch throughout. We then have Waka, Tsukiyama, and Rian. So this was one of the mix-in matches. We will not be seeing Waka and Hanako team up after their new blood tag title reign came to an end. So a bit of a shock there, but for an opportunity for someone like Rian to showcase. Listen, I'm not the biggest Waka Tsukiyama fan. I'll be the first to admit that, but I will give her credit for what she did with the new blood tag belts and what she did, even with May Sarah in that high speed title match, right? And even her 5-star was entertaining, right? These two within this block are probably going to get maybe one win, and that might be strong. Um, because everyone else is just really heavy hitters that shouldn't probably lose. They might beat like, Hina and Rana, or maybe get the they'll get the one over on uh Unimon and May Sarah because maybe those two can't connect or something, but these two aren't going to log a lot of points. But again, it's another opportunity for Rian specifically to continue growing, right? Her 5-star, she took every advantage she could from that to get better, to improve. So now she enters tag league, a way that I think helps a lot of just learning tag team aspects and watching and then getting into it. I think that does a lot of good for a wrestler. So in that respect, I'm excited to see what Rian can do after this tournament. So should be a lot of fun for her to get an opportunity in here and see what she can do. And then we will have Bozilla and Akira Kuragane. I had thought that maybe we would put Suzu and Bozilla together. Now, would that create the most powerful tag team possible? Yeah, it sure would. Um, but I honestly didn't care. I thought it would be a perfect combo. Instead, Bozilla's paired with Akira Kuragane, which essentially tells me Bozilla is not going to have the best of times in this tournament. When you look at the fall teams, the teams that are going to take a lot of losses, you look at this one in Bozilla, Akira Kuragane, and you look at Waka and Rian. That being said, the same thing can be said for Akira that was said for Rian, and I think Akira needs it even more, right? Akira missed the 5-star Grand Prix while Rian, Yurihime, fellow rookies got to compete in that. So now Akira entering tag team, the tag league, will get a chance to figure things out match by match in meaningful matches. That does a lot of good for a wrestler. I don't know how much her and Bozilla are gonna have tag team moves that could, hurt her and maybe learning the tag team aspect in full, but I think they'll be an entertaining tag team, and there's some matchups that I think you especially are excited for if you see Bozilla and Akira, at least for me. And the main one is probably Sareee and Bozilla sharing the ring again. It's been a long time, but I'm looking forward to that. Then, of course, we have FWC. I mean, this is the best tag team in the entire tournament. FWC has been the staple of tag team wrestling in joshi since Hazuki returned to professional wrestling, and they have consistently had great matches, consistently had great reigns. Hazuki just had the great match with Sarah. These two just had a great match against each other. These two should be going far. Now, I understand the booking or the lack of success that FWC has had for so much of this year in a Stardom ring. That doesn't mean they shouldn't have it here. This is, again, arguably the greatest tag team in Stardom's history, right? Like, there's only a few that you can put above them. That's how great FWC is. And you look at the matchups: FWC versus Natsu Saory, FWC versus BMI2000, FWC versus Sareee and Miku Kanae. The first time we get Hazuki and Sareee in a ring. That's very exciting. Um, hell, have FWC versus Yuna and Sarah should be awesome. There's a lot of great potential, and if there's anyone that's like, if they get the FWC matches that we want and we expect, they can easily be the MVPs. And hell, they should be in the conversation for winners. Will they? I don't know, but they should at least be in the conversation. They're former winners, right? They won back in 2022. Was it 2022? No, back in 2021. Went on to win the tag belts, had a great reign, had great two reigns that year, and then of course they had the awesome reign last year. So we'll see if FWC can find success once again. I hope they do. But at the very least, they're going to give you some phenomenal matches throughout that you're going to remember. So that's always a win when FWC is involved. And our final team of the Red Goddesses block, and kind of the cherry on top of what is a fantastic block, is none other than Sareee and Miku Kanae. When it comes to these two, I think you can't beat the excitement levels out of tag teams in this tournament. Sareee and Miku Kanae bring an awesome mix, right? Because Saree's going to give it her all with her rookie, right? Miku Kanae or Chi-Chi, whichever one could have had the opportunity to do something like this, as we've seen in every match they've had, in the trios matches they've had. She's going to get a lot of Miku. And the story here is Miku wanted in, right? Miku wanted to be part of this tournament. She wanted to learn under Sareee, right next to her. And I think that's going to be so much fun. Miku Kane is one of the best young wrestlers in all of Joshi. There's a reason she was part of the uh Future of Joshi first edition, because she's fantastic. She's absolutely fantastic, absolutely phenomenal. And to me, she's going to have a killer tournament. This is an opportunity for myself and many others to see a lot of Miku Kane, which is a win in itself, plus Sareee as well. I think you have these two share the ring, you have these two team up. They're gonna put together some of the best matches in the tournament. Like I said, we're gonna get our first chance at seeing Sareee and Hazuki share the ring together. Maybe the last. I don't know. Nothing's predictable, though. Sareee should book Hazuki for some reason. But we'll get to see that. We'll get to see Sareee and Bozilla share the ring once again. We'll get to see Sareee versus Natsupoi, right? We know that is something they're talking about. If you read the Sareee interview that was posted, she kind of said, I think Natsupoi is limited while being in Stardom, right? There is some serious uh jabs being thrown at her best friend. It's like she wants to light a fire under Natsupoi. So seeing Natsupoi team with Saori in this tournament against them, that's going to be awesome. Them versus BMI 2000 should be great. Every time Sareee versus Hate has happened, it's been awesome. So there's a lot of potential here. They are absolutely in the conversation for MVPs. It depends how great Miku is, but I think they are going to have such a fun tournament. I don't know if they're going to make it far. I think Miku is going to take a lot of pins, but I'm excited for what it's gonna look like. I'm excited for what it can be, and I think for them, they're gonna be a scrappy team. They're gonna be an exciting team, and for many, they might be the most exciting team. But considering the block, considering how many great teams are in this block, Red Goddesses is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Like, I legitimately woke up, looked at the blocks, and said, "Alright, I'm not only gonna do this preview, I'm pretty locked in, at least for all the Red Goddesses match." We'll see how much of the tournament I do watch because, life's busy and that's a lot of tournament matches, but I'm definitely watching these tag teams because I think it's gonna be awesome. So, that is your Red Goddesses side. We'll give you your predictions in a second as well as the little matchup schedule and everything like that. We'll also discuss the opening night. So, bear with me. Let's get to the next part of this, which is, of course, the Blue Goddesses block. And that starts with the unique team up of Saida and Bea Priestley. As we know, Hanan is out dealing with an injury that Konami forced, and surely she'll come back and be the savior alongside to try and help take down Hate and take down Konami, who is, of course, your new Wonder of Stardom champion. So you look at this matchup, you look at this team up, it's odd, because Wingori is the team, right? I just said it earlier. So Saida now teams with someone new and someone very new for her in Bea Priestley. I do think that if they can find a chemistry together, because they've only been together in Stars for all of like 4 or 5 matches, then they could be a very intriguing team here in the blue side of things. So I don't really have expectations for them because again, B hasn't been around enough to have full expectations, but B was always a good tag wrestler. Like, if you were to look at her past time in Stardom, her and Jamie Hayter were a really good duo. Um, so I think it'll be fun to see her and Saida. Saida can bring the power, much like a Jamie Hayter did. Um, they could be a nice surprise in terms of entertainment factor. We'll see. But I wouldn't be shocked if these two even made it to the final three. This block is very wide open, very wide open. So if you want to push Star strong, these two could be part of it. This is the team, folks. I was really kind of hoping they were in red. Not that they would have done well; they would have taken a lot of losses. But I was hoping they were in red as I was scrolling through the teams, just because I love Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kara. This team is awesome. Okay, this duo rocks. It's gonna be so much fun. Um, Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. Like, this is a fun tag team, the new blood tag team champions. They have a lot of momentum behind them. They have shown great tag team fluidity. They have tag team moves. There's so much to love about these two. Truly, there's so much to love about these two. And if Stardom's serious, right, building up Sayaka Carrara, hopefully building up Aya Sakura, they have to be seriously considered for the final three. They are tag team champions for a reason. I know they're young, I know they're youthful, but I need them to make that final three. And I'm going to pick them as one of my teams to make final three because they're that good. They're that good as a duo. This is exactly what they should be doing right now. So I'm very excited for what these two could bring. Another pick, another dark horse pick for MVP as well. They're not in the stronger block, but I think they're going to have some of the best performances and they're going to give 100%. That's all I'm looking for in Tag League is those who are going to give 100%. And I think they're going to be among that duo. Those duos, I should say. Then we have Shuri and Saki Kashima. I was wondering if Shuri was going to be in this, but it makes sense, right? She's not on the uh she's not on the Stardom Dream Kingdom card as of right now. So why not give Shuri a chance to compete in Tag League alongside Saki Kashima? Would it be a surprise at all if they have a lot of success? Not not to me. Saki Kashima doing the revival and getting shock pins, Shuri being Shuri. I think there is potential there, having them face BMI2000 a week before Shuri and Saya Kamatani collide at Wrestle Kingdom. It it sounds like it makes more sense than it doesn't. You know, I think it's a possibility. I think these 2 are gonna have a lot of success. I don't think they're gonna necessarily be the MVPs, mostly because like, Saki Kashima could end the match in 2 seconds, and that will happen at least once because that's how she does tournaments. But I think they'll be a fun duo and, some comedy here and there, they do have their comedic moments together, so they should be fun. And I do think they could be a pick at least for the final 3. So keep that in mind as we go along here. Next up, we have Ami Sourei and Lady C. Of course, they have previously challenged BMI 2000 for the tag belts, but came up short in their challenge. That match didn't stand out to me as much as I thought it was going to. With I think the chemistry that Ami and Lady C do actually have. I think there is potential here. I think there is excitement here, and I think overall, for me, these two are 2 of the better contenders in Blue Goddesses. I've said it many times, Ami Sareee, since she's come back from injury, has really turned that full corner for me where I'm really excited for her matches. I think she brings a lot to the table. And I think there has to be a time we want to start pushing Ami Sourei. She has taken a lot of pins, and I thought she was going to be someone pushed heavily when she came back, but it hasn't really been the case outside of making it to the next round in the 5-star Grand Prix. So what does this duo look like? They've already had the challenge, so I'm not going to pick them to win or anything, but I do think out of the Blue Goddesses team, they should have one of the better tournaments. We then have Hanako and X. This is the real mystery. Who's X? Well, X could just simply be Xena. That would be great, wouldn't it? That's why I would like it to be. I miss Xena. I miss Xena very much. Xena was awesome. Xena had that awesome match with Micah last year for the world title. She had a really cool match with May Sarah, and I always thought she was built to be great in Tag League, but that's around the time she got hurt. She ended up missing Tag League, and we haven't seen her in Stardom since. Well, what better way to reintroduce her than bring her back in Tag League, teaming with Hanako? So seeing EXV team up, I think there is sense there. If it's not her, could it be Micah? Could the runner up from last year be reformed here in a mystery scenario? I think that's very possible too. And if that's the case, I think they're winning the whole tournament, by the way. If this is Micah, I do think they have a great chance of winning. If it's Xena, hell, they should at least make the final 3. There's not a lot of big time options here to pick from. There's a lot of openness for a reason. I'm fascinated to see who X is. I think Hanako has shown signs of improvement, especially over the past number of months. Her and Waka obviously tagged a lot, so them not being together, this feels like it has to be a Xena or Micah for it to make sense. I did think to myself, like Risa Sarah, because of their connection previously. I don't think it's going to be Risa Sarah. I think it's going to be one of the returning injured wrestlers, hopefully, in Micah or Xena. But we'll see. But I do think they're going to have a good little run and probably finish close to the top, whoever they may be. If it's Micah, definitely. If it's Xena, probably. There's a reason you do the mystery tag partner. I don't know when they're going to reveal it, but we'll hopefully see soon. Then you have O2 Line. Azumi and Miyu Amasaki, I really like them as a duo. I have for a long time. They had that great match with FWC last year for the tag belts. I think it was Corrigan. I just remember I was on vacation when I watched it. It was awesome. But I really like O2 Line, and I think it would be nice to see Miyu Amasaki have a good run here alongside Azumi. They have obviously great chemistry. I think Miyu Amasaki is better when she's with Azumi, just more confident, more sure of herself. I think these two could have maybe the best tournament out of the blue side of things. It's them, um, I and Sayaka I look at. Uh, but O2 Line, again, another team that should at least be considered for that top 3 on their side. It's very confusing. It's a lot to think about because Honestly, this block is so open, any of the teams could probably qualify, but O2 Line has been an established tag team for a couple years now. They should get some respect here. You know, it's one of those moments of like, what are we doing? And hell, maybe they even win. Maybe they're a shock winner. I wouldn't actually be shocked if they went with them. You know, Azumi is someone you should be wanting to feature at Stardom Dream Queendom. Putting her in a tag title match alongside Miyu Amasaki isn't crazy to me. It's actually something I'd consider at the very least. So we will see, but they have a tournament. They have a run that I'm very excited for. They open the night against Saida and Bea Priestley. So a lot of moving parts there. We'll see how that match goes. Then we have maybe the most exciting new team in terms of it's not thrown together. They're in the same faction, but it was a wonderful surprise. Suzu Suzuki and Rina Yamashita. These two are gonna be awesome. Plain and simple. They're gonna be awesome, and they are probably the biggest lock for the final 3 out of anyone, unless Micah is Hanako's partner, because Suzu and Rina Yamashita aren't gonna take a lot of losses. They're not gonna get pinned a lot. They're gonna be badasses in this block. They stand out from every other team. They are going to be devastating. They're gonna hit you hard. They're gonna make you remember who this team truly is. I'm super duper excited about these two. And I think they should again be a serious consideration to win the whole thing. You know, Suzu Suzuki has come close. She was a finalist 2 years ago alongside May Sarah, Crazy Star. And then Rina Yamashita being here for all these matches is great. Rina Yamashita has been on a run lately. Her and Natsuki Aoki had the great championship challenge against BMI2000 last Monday. So it's hard not to be super duper pumped for what these two could bring to the table. I think if there's an option here to be MVP, they might be it. They might be it. I think they're gonna have some awesome matches, some real standout matches, and maybe they're my picks for a finalist from the Blue Goddesses. We'll see. Then your final team is none other than your new Wonder of Stardom champion, Konami, teaming with Rina, also two-thirds of the Artists of Stardom champions. The only bummer about this is that Azusa Naba and Rina aren't teaming. I love Devil X Princess. I think they're a fantastic duo, but neither Naba's in the tournament, so it makes a lot of sense. Put Konami and Rina together. Um, I'm fascinated to see how they do. Obviously, there is a lot of history on the line for Rena this year. If she gets to the finals or the semifinals, that final night, she has a big final night match. She has a real good chance to do some history, right? She's been to the this year alone, she's been to the finals of Cinderella, the semifinals of the 5-star. Can she do the same? Can she be in one of those two spots here in the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League? I don't think it's out of the question because hate always wins. Hate is always in the conversation, and they're super high on Rena for a reason. Funny enough, these are also the two options of Wonder of Stardom champions. The one I wanted to dethrone, Starlight Kid, and the one that actually did. So that's a funny little moment to realize. But I'm looking forward to it. Rena's my favorite wrestler in Stardom. She's been a fantastic wrestler this year from start to finish. One of the best wrestlers all year, like a top 15 wrestler of the year type conversation point to me. So I'm super duper pumped to see what these two can do as a duo. I'm pretty pumped about the entire tournament if you couldn't guess. Like, I know again, tag league is something very overlooked by people, but hey, I like tag team wrestling. I like joshi wrestling. Good combo, right? Um, and I think at least the end of this tournament will be really cool. But hey, it opens in Corkin, so that's awesome as well. But Konami and Rina, I think will be at least an interesting duo because I don't think Rina has an off switch. She'll make each match entertaining. I think Konami will go at it at the big show. So we'll see how they do. But here is your field, here is your schedule, all the matchups and such that you are wondering. Your opening night for the Red Goddesses block, which is at Cork and Hall this Friday. You for your Red Goddesses matches, you have BMI 2000, Natsuko Tora and Ruaka facing Hina and Rana Yagami. You have Sareee and Miku Kanae facing Yuna Mizumori and Mei Seira. That's one of the more exciting matches on the entire slate. So I can't wait for that. And your very, very, very likely main event, you have Natsu and Saori Sariano and Natsupoi teaming up. They will face FWC, Hazuki and Kaguma. That's gonna roll. That could be the best match of the entire tournament on night one in the main event at Cork and Hall. So absolutely pumped for that. Also, I love that FWC and um, FWC and Natsu and Saori, all those matches with Sareee and Miku Kanae are the last 2 days. So something to really look forward to when it comes to that duo. Then on the Blue Goddesses side, here are your opening night matches for that side of things. You have Saida and Bea Priestley versus O2 line, Azumi and Miyu Amasaki. You have Young Kozen, Ai Sakura and Sayaka Kurara going against Konami and Rina. And then you'll have Shuri and Saki Kashima facing Suzu Suzuki and Rina Yamashita. So more Rina Yamashita, and Shuri sharing the ring for the second time in a week. So that's pretty cool because I thought they had a great run at it there. But with that being said, let's get to the bracket. How does this bracket look? Well, it's much like the 5-star. You'll have your top seeds. They'll have the bye on the 29th. They'll await the winners of the second versus third seed in the respective blocks. So, who are my picks? Top 3 from each side. Make it 3 out of 8 from red, 3 out of 8 from blue. So, let's go look at red. My 3 picks right now. I'm going with BMI 2000, Natsu and Saori, and FWC. I think Natsupoi and Saori versus Sareee and Miku Kanae are going to be the decision makers on that final night. It's going to keep one of those two teams out. Maybe it's Sareee and Miku, pulling the big shock and keeping Natsu and Saori out. There's a good chance that maybe neither of those teams make it, and maybe Unime makes it in. But those are the 4 teams I'm deciding between: BMI 2000, Natsu and Saori, FWC, and Sareee and Miku Kanae. Those are the 4 that I think have a chance. FWC should be a lock. I think BMI 2000 as the champions will at least be the lock for the final 3. Then it's down to Natsu and Saori versus Sareee and Miku Kanae. I'm gonna go with Natsu and Saori. I'm fascinated to see what this story looks like. That is clearly bubbling up between Natsupoi and Sareee. Maybe Sareee pinning her is part of that. I don't know, but I'm gonna go with the kind of chalk picks of the 3 main tag teams to make it. But boy, oh boy, I would love Sareee and Miku Kanae to make it on that final night. Then we'll have the Blue Goddesses. Here are my picks. This one's tough. I'm definitely picking Suzuki and Rina Yamashita. I think they are absolutely making it. They're going to be one of the more unbeatable duos in this entire tournament. It's not a shock to me that they face Konami and Rina on the final night. I think that's going to be a decision maker, and I think Suzu and Rina will definitely get it. So who from there do I pick? Who are the other 2 teams? Well, there's not a lot of set tag teams here. If it's Micah with Hanako, if it's Xena with Hanako, I think that team makes it. I do. I do think that team makes it. That's why the mystery is there. So that leaves 1 team left. That leaves Azumi and Miyu Amasaki, Konami and Rina, Lady Tsunami Sareee, Shuri and Saki Kashima, Young Kozen, and Saida versus Bea Priestley. Who makes it in? As much as I'd love it to be Young Kozen, I don't know if they're going to be willing to give them that. You know what? We're going with the heart. I didn't go with Sareee and Miku on the first one. That would have been going from the heart. We'll go from the heart here. Who do they face on the final? Azumi and O2 line. The Azumi and O2 line. Azumi and Miyu Amasaki. I think that could be a decider as well. So yeah, let's run it with them. I like that one. Maybe they get the big shock win over them and get in. I think that'd be really cool. So that brings us back to the bracket. So my 3 were BMI 2000, Natsu and Saory, and FWC on the red side, while the blue side was Young Kozen, Suzuki, and Rina Yamashita, and Hanako, and X. I'm going to have my finals be. Oh, I don't know. You know what? My final is going to be Suzuki and Rina Yamashita versus FWC. I listen, I know how it's gone for FWC this year. It has not been great. But one, that match sounds freaking awesome. And two, I just gotta believe. That's the thing about Red Goddesses. They have such a packed block, but I don't know if they have a necessary winner. On the blue side, I can see Rina and Suzu running it all the way and then facing Hate, facing BMI 2000 at Queendom. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Suzu and Rina Yamashita as my winners for the 15th Goddesses of Stardom tournament. Unless it's Micah with Hanako, then they're probably gonna win, and I'm gonna look stupid. But yeah, we'll say that is all from now. But that is your Goddesses Tag League preview. I said to myself, this wouldn't be long. I said to myself, this would be about 20 minutes. Well, I got 41 out of it anyways. So that's pretty cool. But hopefully you all enjoyed this. Hopefully you're excited for Tag League like myself. I know it's Tag League, that's what everyone says, but Tag League can be fun. And with the way the Red Goddesses block looks, especially, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And maybe that's all you have to watch until the final 2 days if you don't have the time. But hey, tag team action every single weekend, whole month from Stardom. It's a fun little month of their schedule. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you are too. Maybe I'm hyping it up a little bit too much. Maybe it'll just be like kind of whatever. That's also very possible too. I've watched many tag leagues. It's kind of how it goes. But hey, I'm here to pump myself up, pump you up, and hopefully it'll end up being a really cool tournament. So thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for joining me here today for this very special preview. Like I said, if you haven't checked it out, go check out the Crimson Nightmare 2025 show review, which went up on Monday. You can also check out the Grand Destiny review if you haven't already. And like I said, I'll be back on Monday with a Sareeism review and so much more content coming down the pipeline. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you press like. Make sure you keep it on with the channel. It means the world to me. We're striving towards 1,000 subscribers. That's the unimaginable goal I had when this all started. So thank you to each and every one of you that press that subscribe button and take part in all of this. So with that being said, until next time, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back on Monday at the very latest with a Sareeism review. So until then, enjoy the Tag League, enjoy Joshi Wrestling, keep loving it all, and we'll see you on the Flippy Flip. See you guys.